In our previous video, we snuck behind enemy lines to give you a sneak peek of the big boy Batman world of cryptographic JPEGs. We said we were going to create an NFT and tell you exactly what happened from start to finish. For those who have been waiting, this isn't going to be that video, but we're going to tell you how it all turned out and give you some insight into the process behind the scenes. Before we proceed, let's take a look at the wider NFT story and see how things have been progressing over the last couple of months. So, since our entrance to the NFT space, it seems like things haven't been looking quite so good for the other projects out there in the world. We've seen an increasing number of headlines in the news with titles such as more than $100 million of NFTs stolen since July 2021. How NFTs went the way of the Beanie Baby. NFT expert imagines a future where poor people serve as real-life NPCs in video games. Since the rise of these stories, public trust in NFTs has absolutely plummeted, and with the value of NFTs falling to their lowest price in decades, this could be a prime time for you to get in on the ground floor of a revolutionary new opportunity. Not financial advice. When the world was locked in their homes during the 2021 global event, why did they go temporarily insane and decide to purchase a bunch of JPEGs en masse? A tough question indeed, but before we get into it, let me try and set the scene a little. A 2016 documentary by British filmmaker Adam Curtis may hold the clues for helping us understand just how humans behave in these sorts of extraordinary circumstances. In his movie called Hypernormalisation, he argues that governments, financiers, and technological utopians have, ever since the 1970s, given up on the complex real world and decided to build a simpler, fake world in its place. Like in The Matrix, this fake world is very convincing. It looks and feels exactly the same as its authentic counterpart. You can even shake its hand and feel flesh gripping yours. It simply is not there.
Just by shifting paper around, these slobs can make $65 million in a single transaction. It's reckless, it's cruel, and it's a disgrace.
If you look at your investment, which is it's not, you can't even buy a watch with that. You must appreciate.
The modern world that we live in today has become so hollowed out at its core that people like Curtis believe that it may be intentionally designed to be fake. You know, on purpose. We've seen plenty of pieces of media grapple with the concept of an artificial, simulated world, as well as everyday people's reactions to having to live inside these environments. These narratives help us to explore the idea of a world that may not be as real as it seems.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real?
But to truly grasp the core ideas connecting all of these works together, we need to take a step back and uncover the source of inspiration for these thought-provoking concepts.
What does that mean?
It means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
Enter French philosopher and cultural theorist Jean Baudrillard. In 1981, he penned a groundbreaking book titled Simulacra and Simulation. Baudrillard's book dives deep into the relationship between reality, cultural symbols, and society. He says that we live in a world where there is more and more information and less meaning. In today's media landscape, we can put on a VR headset or load up one of our favourite games and be transported instantly to one of hundreds of vastly detailed, hand-created, simulated worlds. From Red Dead Redemption and RuneScape to Rocket League and Roblox, there's a vast array of completely made-up worlds out there that feel real to millions of people every single day. The simulated world is like a cosmic mirror reflecting reality, but over time, it starts imitating real-world processes and systems, and begins to fracture and crack. First we had games that attempted to imitate work. And now, with the rise of work-from-home software and the gamification of work, we have work that begins to look and feel exactly like games.
Shall we play a game?
It's one of those games where you kill each other, and I'm not interested in the game.
How about global thermonuclear war? Which side do you want?
You punch it at 8:30 every morning, except you punch it at 7:30 following a business holiday. Listen to Monday, then you punch it at 8 o'clock. Punch it late, and they dock this goes to 7. Mr. Matuzak, incoming articles, get a voucher. Outgoing articles, provide a voucher. Too many articles without a voucher, and they dock you.
Take this up to secretarial pool on 3. ASAP.
Letter size of green voucher, folder size of yellow voucher, parcel size of maroon voucher.
Hey, kid, this is for Morgatron. Chop, chop.
Wrong color voucher, and they dock you.
A simulacra is a representation of something that either never had an original or has along the way lost its original meaning. Imagine seeing something so often online that you forget what the real thing even looks like.
Bangers. Yo. Can I eat the glizzy? Aaron Yeager laugh my ass off dancing.
Kanye East is a rapper who recently became famous on TikTok and Instagram for looking like and impersonating the real Kanye West. In Baudrillard's worldview, Kanye East could be viewed as a simulacrum due to the way this character blurs the lines between reality and hyperreality on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. In this context, Kanye East represents the hyper-real world where simulations and copies take on a life of their own and can become a separate thing from what they originally set out to copy.
As for the copycats, they're a standalone complex resulting from this phenomenon. Nothing but copies without an original. But like I said, it's all speculation.
The idea of copies without a real original is a central theme of the anime Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. This is a show that explores ideas like simulacra, as well as tapping into the very core of the essence behind consumer hype and the rise of NFTs. Imagine a group of unrelated individuals who all start acting in unison, almost as if they're part of a secret society. But in reality, there is no grand plan. It's just a cascade of independent actions that create the illusion of something larger. Copies of copies, with no real way to trace back to the prime mover or original action. Pure simulacra.
I bet you never thought about it, but the internet and dreams are similar. They're areas where the repressed conscious mind escapes.
A digital artwork by a relatively unknown American artist known as Beeple has sold at Christie's for nearly $70 million. That's £50 million and become the first ever sale by a major auction house of a work that doesn't physically exist.
Okay, I get it. You wanted the explanation, and I'm dropping a bunch of mad statements about how a French guy invented the Matrix, therefore money isn't real. And that's awesome, but what about when the part of our brain that invented money, traffic lights, and say the alphabet is used for a slightly more abstract or less practical fashion? Assuming simulation theory was entirely true, we could imagine that the collectibles market of the simulated world would become increasingly more absurd, strange, and abstractified as time went on. This process continues to its logical conclusion until people are collecting ethereal concepts such as nodes, or in this case, arbitrary collections of pixels. What if I told you that the people engaged in the abstract simulations of collectibles like NFT, Funko Pops, and Beanie Babies weren't doing so because they were trying to escape reality. They were doing so because they were trying to grasp at something that was real.
You have the ability to watch Bitcoin going up, down, and basically this process, this roller coaster ride of like, woo, the highs, boom, the lows, and it's available on your phone 24/7.
The value of NFT projects around the world are highly inflated, and this can be seen in the microcosm of the project I launched earlier in the year, NFTs. At its height, the NFTs I minted for my Practical Joke project began trading for around $9 a piece. Things started to really pick up when my friend gave me a couple of beers in exchange for an NFT once on a night out. And that seemed like a really good deal to me. And it was at that moment that I realised something was seriously wrong with speculative finance. Were these people insane? During my short time as the Federal Reserve, I realised that the things people would be willing to speculate on are often incredibly crazy. They might not be based in reality at all. For a while, things were looking real dicey, and around the world, collectors moved in to amass and hoard as much digital gold as their MetaMask wallets could carry. For some of us, we may be sitting in the hangover of NFTs, holding on to our pixels, wondering what the hell we were doing. In this environment, it's much easier to realise why NFTs were able to become so potent in such a short space of time. As the internet becomes increasingly more divided, you've got to ask yourself, are these online tribes and communities people questing for something real and authentic? Or is it just a new form of always-on, hyper-focused, targeted advertising?
To me, marketing is about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. Those people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do.
Instantaneous world of electric informational media involves all of us, all at once.
I think what I've learned up until the point is, the main reason people chase hype is to be part of something, some kind of in-group, community, culture that accepts them. Whether you identify as a gamer, a flat earther, or a seeder or disrespecter, everyone's really doing the same thing. They're consuming digital identity and scoping out their place in one of the many available digital tribes. So, while the whole NFT thing was kind of crazy, and maybe just a little bit gassed up, it was kind of awesome to see this value being created out of thin air, purely off the back of a sense of community, solely powered by the mind energy and processing powers of the audience. That isn't one of the main reasons why the internet is cool. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Roll credits.
The global village is a world in which you don't necessarily have harmony, you have extreme concern with everybody else's business.
When you live out on the frontier, you have no identity, you're a nobody, therefore you get very tough. You have to prove that you are somebody.
And so the global village is as big as the planet and as small as the village post office. And it doesn't necessarily mean harmony, peace and quiet, but it does mean huge involvement.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, these are weaponized. This goes back to Clockwork Orange, where he's, has his eyes opened up. And I think this is the modern struggle.
Them is don't be like me. Don't be greedy or big